Today we're going to learn how to use a Tula ring sling. Our wrap conversion ring slings can be used from birth and through toddlerhood and are a quick to adjust, ergonomic way to wear your baby. There are a couple of things we must always keep in mind while using any carrier. The most important thing to remember for safety is to maintain an open airway. You want your baby to be high enough to kiss, visible at all times, and you want to make sure that baby's chin is off his or her chest to ensure that the airway is not compromised and he or she can breathe safely. We're also going to make sure that our baby is well supported in an ergonomic position. I'll show you what that looks like once we have baby in the carrier. As you can see, a Tula ring sling is a long piece of fabric sewn securely on one end to a pair of reinforced sling rings using several rows of stitching. To use it, we will create an adjustable loop that will attach baby to our torso by going over one shoulder and under the other arm, like a beauty queen sash. In order to use a Tula ring sling, we're going to need to start off by threading the rings. Threading the rings properly will allow the sling to be easily adjustable and comfortable for you and baby. Let's thread the sling correctly together. First, hold the rings on the sewn shoulder in one hand and the long portion of woven fabric in the other hand. Your tags should be facing up, and your fabric should lie flat and should not be twisted. Next, gather the fabric of the tail like an accordion, back and forth, so that you can hold it all in one hand. Lift the end of the tail up and over and thread it carefully through both rings. Your tag should be sandwiched between the tail and the shoulder of the sling. To finish threading your sling, we need to reverse the direction of the tail. Pass the tail back over the top ring and through the bottom ring. This is similar to threading a belt. Finally, make sure that your fabric is not twisted. You can do this by spreading the rails as far away from one another as you can in the rings, and then by walking the fabric from one side to the other to flatten it. Now that our sling is threaded, let's work on adjusting it to our body and preparing it for the baby. First, you'll want to decide which shoulder to wear your ring sling on. I'm right-handed and prefer to wear my ring sling over my left shoulder because I prefer to have a full range of motion with my dominant right arm. You should choose whichever side feels most comfortable for you. To put the sling on, hold the rings in one hand with the tail pointing in the direction of the shoulder you will be wearing it on. Holding the rings in that hand, pass the loop over your head and put your arm through. The rings will end up high on your shoulder, with the tail end hanging down toward your feet. If you're new to ring slings, it can be helpful to place them as high as possible when you are first learning. That's because the rings do move down a little bit as you adjust the sling. The best final placement for your rings is just under your shoulder. Now we're going to preset the length of the sling to make sure that it is a suitable size. The lowest part of the sling pouch should be close to the same level as your navel. This will help us to have fewer adjustments later on. I usually insert my thumb toward my belly and hold the sling slightly away to check this sizing. Adjust if needed. Now we're going to put our baby in the ring sling. You can use this method to wear your baby in the tummy-to-tummy position or on your hip for an older child. We're going to keep supporting baby's weight all the way until the end when she is completely adjusted and safe, so make sure that you keep your hands on your child until all adjustments have been made. To begin, lift your baby up and hold baby in the burp position against your free shoulder. Continue to support her weight in her bottom and torso and slide her feet first into the sling so that the fabric rests near baby's knees. Place her legs in a natural seated M position. In this position, your baby's knees should be gently spread to the sides with bottom and legs forming the letter M. Baby's knees should be higher than her bottom. Use one hand to support your baby and use the other to lift the top rail of the panel all the way up behind your baby's back and to the back of her neck. For a newborn, you will want this fabric to cover all the way to the base of your baby's head. Then, continuing to support your baby, reach inside the sling between your body and your baby's body and pull the bottom rail up towards your baby's belly button. This is going to create a deep-seated hammock which will support baby's weight. As you can see, there's fabric coverage from knee to knee with a deep fabric seat between my baby's body and my body. Now, still supporting baby's weight, we're going to work on getting the baby adjusted securely. I'm going to do this by gathering any excess fabric starting underneath my arm. I'll move any excess fabric across baby's back to the rings. To pull it through smoothly, we're going to take the rail of this tail end that corresponds with the loose portion of fabric and pull it through in the same direction. You can see this top rail of fabric is coming through the rings horizontally, so to tighten it, we'll pull the fabric gently in a horizontal direction until the fabric lies flat against baby's neck. It's important that we don't tighten the bottom rail too much because we want to make sure that baby still has this nice deep hammock seat with knees higher than bottom, knee-to-knee fabric coverage, and wrap between our bodies. But we do want the bottom rail to be snug enough to support baby's weight in that hammock. To tighten it, since the fabric that forms the bottom rail is coming through the rings vertically, we'll pull the corresponding outside rail straight down to tighten it a bit. If you have any gathered fabric between the rings or extra slack across baby's back, you can also tighten that part of the fabric individually by pulling the corresponding portion of the tail. This helps you adjust the seat so that baby has a nice curved spine like a big C. For optimal comfort, you'll want to make sure that the sling is evenly spread and tapping your shoulder. It should be away from your neck and closer to your shoulder and upper arm. Finally, spread the sling widely across your back to provide the most comfortable support. Now you can see that baby is secured with her weight resting in the hammock of the sling, a deep seat from knee to knee and under baby's bottom, and of course baby is visible, close enough to kiss, and has her chin off her chest so that she can breathe. When it becomes time to adjust baby to take her out, this is how to loosen your sling. You will start by using your arms to support baby's weight. This will release tension on the rings. While supporting baby's weight in one arm, lift gently up with the visible top ring. This will loosen the sling. You should not have to unthread the ring sling, just loosen it enough to give you a little bit of space. Doing this will allow you to reposition baby or take her out of the carrier. That is how we use a Tula Ring Sling.